Ruto's latest remarks on corruption in the judiciary and other arms of government have drawn criticism from stakeholders and political leaders. While the president has pointed fingers at various institutions, leaders say naming and shaming is not enough, urging him to forward files of individuals involved to the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. On her part, Chief Justice Martha Koome defended the judiciary, insisting that its fidelity to the Constitution remains unshaken. Our senior political reporter, Elizabeth Mutuku, has the details.
Of the vigorous and often unsettling conversation around terms like jury pesa. As painful as this may be, they cannot be ignored.
Just hours after President William Ruto strongly criticized the judiciary, urging it to confront corruption head-on, various stakeholders have responded sharply, criticizing the president's remarks. They insist that if there are allegations of corruption within institutions, the president should present credible evidence to the EACC.
What would be better is to fight that corruption quietly, and then people can see the effect of that fight rather than attack whole institutions. Because when you say the judiciary is corrupt, there might just be a few elements within the judiciary who are corrupt. They need to be, rooted out. When you say parliament is corrupt, there might be a few people who are corrupt. They need to be pointed out and dealt with. Otherwise, you're eroding public trust in those institutions, and when public trust is eroded in all those institutions, where do they turn?
Leaders have further stressed the importance of fighting corruption through proper legal channels and credible processes. This is as they argue that if the claims by the head of state remain unsubstantiated, they risk eroding public trust in the key institutions, especially Parliament and the judiciary.
But thirdly, and more importantly, the president is the head of the executive. Now, he can address the judiciary, he can address the speaker on the need to take action in those arms of government. But as the head of the executive, he has to demonstrate the actions he himself has taken within the executive. Because, in relative terms, there's a lot more allegations of corruption within the executive than any other place.
In the recent weeks, both President William Ruto and ODM leader Raila Odinga have heightened the need to tackle corruption. They've pointed all alleged extortion in Parliament and claims of judges and magistrates receiving payments in exchange of favorable rulings. However, analysts argue that such remarks may not be entirely sincere, suggesting they could be politically motivated.
We need to deal with this issue squarely by looking at this animal called corruption, the face, and dealing with it. That's the only way that our country will be able to move forward.
You see, when the president puts together a task force under his office and brings in independent institutions like ESCC and DPP, that actually is undermining the fight against corruption, because it is subordinating independent institutions to the office of the president. And therefore, it is to suggest that when any allegations of corruption are made against the office of the president, there is no action that will be taken. That is not promoting integrity. That is undermining integrity. And therefore, I think that the political goodwill must be demonstrated.
In response, Chief Justice Martha Koome has come to the defense of the judiciary, confirming that the institution's commitment to upholding Constitution remains firm despite ongoing challenges. The question of Chapter 6 of the Constitution on matters integrity remains unresolved 15 years down the line since the promulgation of the 2010 Constitution, even as blame game continues on fighting corruption. Elizabeth Mutuku, TV 47 Parliament Building.